Live on Instagram and YouTube. Hello, good evening. It is a random Thursday night at 8 p.m. Last time we did a live stream, I kept saying Wednesday night because my brain was all a muddle. I was so excited that we had actually done a live stream that I didn't know what I was talking about. But hello, welcome to Have You Asked Your Dad? This is the podcast and live stream and video where we talk about all the things that we ask dads questions about life and all the different stuff. I am a dad. Hi, my name's Terrence Mentor, also known as Afro Daddy, and I'm joined, as always, by the Colonel himself, Captain Sean Lutz.
What's kicking, little chicken?
Whoa!
Because you called me a colonel, and my mind just went to Colonel Sanders.
Straight there. Straight. You know what? You wouldn't be the Shauno that I know and love if you didn't do that. So, I need to change something on our streaming for YouTube because it's saying something about keyframe stuff. You know what? It's fine. We're doing fine on Instagram, so that's okay. Okay, so if you are joining us, I can see Julie Mentor has joined. No relation, I don't know her, but I can see from her Instagram profile that she is a straight up hottie. So that's pretty cool.
Correct.
And if you have missed the last episode where we spoke about, what did we speak about, Shauno?
If you missed the last episode, Terrence, if you were not here the last time we spoke about I wanted to say coffee because that particular stream was so indelible in my mind because technically
it failed.
Just would not allow for us.
It bombed out completely. Oh, we talked about being sick. I literally had to go through my notebook quickly. We were talking about being sick and how dads and moms cope with illnesses, all like the little sniffles that we get as a family. If you want to watch that, you can. If you go to our YouTube channel or on the Instagram page, which most of you are going to be watching on, you can see the whole episode, or you can listen to it by just searching for Have You Asked Your Dad wherever you get your podcasts. So it's very simple. Just type in the words Have You Asked Your Dad in Google, put the word podcast or YouTube next to it, and we'll pop up. Right.
Terrific. Well done.
Okay, so this week, or at least for this episode, I wanted us to talk about the concept of hobbies.
Yes. I wanted to just quickly say that I think you forgot that we spoke about being sick because you yourself were sick that week.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes. And that's why I thought that it was a Wednesday and not actually a Thursday. So,
but back to now that you're healthy and you have so much time on your hands, Terrence Mentor, the godfather of all things dad related in South Africa, I cannot wait to hear how it is that you've carved out enough time in your schedule to have a hobby. Can I just quickly say that I might be a little, my definition of a hobby might not be the same as everybody else's. Okay. And therefore, if I could just give us all the definition of a hobby so that we know what it is that, the Collins English Dictionary has to say.
Yes.
Hobbies. Right. I'm just going to go to Google quickly. If you weren't watching that, it's the sound of my tongue licking my finger.
Yes, because you were the universal symbol for paging through a book.
So a hobby is defined as a pursuit outside of one's regular occupation, engaged in especially for relaxation. So writing is just a hobby. I write for the sake of writing. Writing at work is completely different because I have to send out an email.
Okay, I see. Yes. But so then if you start to, and we'll talk about this later, but if you start to monetize your hobby, it ceases to be a hobby by definition, right? As soon as it becomes work.
Correct. Pursuit outside of one's, regular occupation. So hobby becomes monetized and therefore becomes primary source of income. I think then it becomes your occupation. So
I see.
That's the gray area.
So if you made jewelry as
Yeah,
something that you enjoy doing, and then you happen to sell the jewelry that you made. So you still made money from it, but it's not your job. That's a hobby.
it's still a hobby. Still a hobby. I
Uh,
think if it's done during a time of relaxation, there's no pressure. Maybe that's how we should put this. You make money from it, but there's no pressure to make the money from it. I bake cake and I sell it to my friends or colleagues because they like it and it gives me something to make it for. Um, Maybe that's where we should frame hobbies.
okay, that sounds good because then it's about your personal enjoyment as the primary goal is your personal enjoyment, not the money that you could be making. But you can see how quickly this can become a bit of a problem, and we'll talk about it in a second. My wife has just mentioned that I was joking about Julie Mentor, by the way. She's my wife, and she is still a hottie. She's saying, "Hi guys, Aphrodite, your children are pretending to be asleep, but I'm not falling for it. You see, this is what happens when Dad doesn't do the bedtime, because
Oh,
I'm militant about bedtimes." Okay. Also, hi to Ansel. Thank you for joining us. Hello there. Um, so I asked a couple of my followers yesterday about the hobbies that they find they can do and that they enjoy doing. One that came up quite often was the concept of baking or like cooking in the kitchen, like
okay.
anything kitchen-y related,
Okay.
which I found fascinating because most parents are already baking and cooking, right? Like it's still a chore that we have to do every day, and yet you still
But
want to.
what if one of the ingredients you add is love,
Oh,
Terence?
the only ingredient
Not
I
much.
yeah, the only ingredient I add is I better feed these children so they get off my case. So okay, because yeah, so you spend all day cleaning the kitchen, cooking, making food for your kids, and then you go, do you know what I want to do with my spare time this evening after the kids are asleep? Bake cookies. I that doesn't make sense to me. I can't see that being a fun time. But again, I'm assuming baking can be relaxing for people.
It most certainly can. Okay, I'm going to try and guess then some of the hobbies that you, Terence, may have had as a youngster, because that's the
Okay.
last time any free time. So that's where my mind's going to go. You, Terence, are the type of person that collected things for a hobby.
No, I am
No.
actually not a collector of things.
Okay, darn.
Hmm.
Okay, then, Terence, you made things as a hobby.
Oh, another swing and a miss. Do you even know me? I didn't really
Yes,
know.
we met last year, so. Um, okay, all right. I'm bad at this. Your
Yeah.
turn.
Okay. Let me think. You see, I know a little bit about you were quite physically active, so I'm gonna say hiking when you were a kid was a hobby of yours.
I look. No, the answer is no.
Ah, okay. And camping also not really.
No, please don't. Unless it's glamping, my friend. I
Okay.
am.
Okay, so not the outdoorsy type. Wait, last choice. Last.
Uh,
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 you were really into painting.
Not as a hobby, no, but I do
Uh,
enjoy being artistic. I do enjoy that. So I guess, and we'll find this out further through this particular live stream, this particular recording, this particular podcast. What are we doing again?
all
That
of the above, actually.
that anything that I do as a hobby invariably becomes more. So, swimming, for argument's sake, is where I spent a lot of time in my youth. And I think I started swimming because it was a fun thing to do. But very quickly, it became a club thing. Very quickly became a competitive thing. Quickly became something that I coached and spent years.
Hmm.
It was my when friends would say, "We're doing this over the weekend." I was like, I gotta meet. I gotta go and race. I'm training this evening.
That's
It
not
was
what I'm
always
about.
so then there wasn't time to other hobby. I danced as a kid. Maybe that's the last time I had an actual hobby. I
that
took up
that
modern dance.
that you didn't feel the need to capitalize on in any way, shape, or form.
Yes, capitalize on. Yeah, can you imagine? And I suppose I could have if I had stuck to
You
it.
really stuck to it. That's a disappointing thing for you. So what is that about us? I think you definitely, but I wonder if parents have that too, where there is a real need, because I see this all the time, to go, oh, I really enjoy writing. Okay, so
Right.
I like writing my diaries. I like reading. I like engaging with stories, and it can never just be I am writing just for the sake of the process and writing for the sake of being part of a writing community. It's always there has to be some sort of outcome to make it feel like it's worth our while. And to be fair, a lot of Aphrodite has become that too, where I've had to pull back and go, wait a second, I am doing Aphrodite because I enjoy making videos and making content about fatherhood. I don't have to monetize everything. It's so hard to do, and I don't like. Why is that? Why is it so hard to do?
I I don't have the answer for you. I wish I did. I was about to type it into ChatGPT, but it hasn't had enough correct prompts yet to be really valuable.
That valuable.
But I was thinking about what you've just said now in terms of some form of productivity. And I was sort of superimposing that over my enjoyment of swimming, and then it became competitive. And I think maybe through that, somewhere, I know you were also athletic and you did a lot of sports things and you enjoy playing hockey. Maybe there's something in being athletic and working with a coach and a team that somehow you get, for the lack of a better word, groomed into setting goals,
Mm.
and therefore it becomes something that is productive and you're always striving for the next thing along the way. um, I thoroughly enjoyed dancing, but as soon as they wanted to make it competitive and I needed to do an exam, I was like, no, I don't want to anymore.
Um, before I get to my point, the thing I wanted to respond to, Ansel says, collectors over here, we don't have hobbies, we collect them. So far, soap making, baking, guitars, and diving have stuck, but we don't get much time. Maybe when Kara's older. So that's a few hobbies right there. I think I think for me, I started to be able to enjoy hobbies when I realized that I can't be in a space where people can tell me that I'm good at that thing. I feel as
Ooh.
soon as someone says, "Oh, Terrence, I saw you do this thing that you're doing as a hobby, but you're actually really good at it." As soon as someone says that, my brain goes, "I have a talent and it must be monetized. I have to, I can't just enjoy this thing that I'm good at. I have to use it to provide."
It's a gift. I should be doing something with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So getting to a point where I'm okay at sucking at stuff has been
Okay.
really helpful. So like you gave the example of, I play with hockey. I play hockey every week with a bunch of old guys who are far fitter and better than I am. I'm like out of 15 players, I'm maybe the 12th best person on the team, but I'm the third youngest. So like it's and getting to the point where it's like, actually, I don't need to figure out a way to train more to get better at it. Like, it's fine if I'm at this level forever because I'm enjoying it. The same with one sec.
Ooh, the boy.
I have been doing this.
Ah,
You can't really see that. It's a
yes.
turntables.
Yes. Love it.
I've been doing that for 10 years, 8 years, and I'm terrible at it, and I'll never play publicly, and I won't make a cent of it, but I know that I'm terrible, and so I just do it for my own enjoyment. Same with, sorry, I'm going to keep talking about the hobbies that I've collected. Same with that.
Play us something. Is it
No,
connected?
it is, but I won't play anything because I'm really, really bad. I've been playing bass guitar since I was 19 and I can't play a thing because I don't practice enough because I know I'm never going to be good at it. So when I have the feeling or the time to like pick it up and strum around, I play a bit and then I put it down and it does because I know I'm not good at it. But if someone said, Terrence, I heard you playing the bass the other day and you're actually pretty good. I wouldn't mind it if you joined my band. Then all of a
Wow.
sudden it's okay, now I have to practice every day and it's a thing. And then in 2 years' time, I get burnt out because, oh my word, I'm putting so much time and energy into this bass guitar stuff. Um, and so I think for me, that's where I had to learn to let go was just being willing to say, I'm going to do stuff that I know I suck at. And the things that I'm good at, I'll do two things that I'm good at. And the rest I just have to leave. So
Okay, so you're much the same as Ansel then, not necessarily collecting things as a hobby, but rather you collect hobbies. You have more than one, and there's a particular criteria that they need to meet for them to be hobbies. Um,
yes.
Two dads and a kid has also recently joined. Hi guys, and Kyle has also jumped on to the live stream on
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah. So I do think that there is an aspect of my ADHD that also affects my hobby
Okay,
collecting vibes. So, because I'm always looking for the new interesting thing to do. So right now, my herb and veggie garden is like my new focus point. And I know, I know in 2 months' time, I'm going to look outside where the patch was and it's all going to be brown and decrepit because I haven't looked after it because I lost interest. And it was like, oh, suddenly I've gone back to writing. Do you know how many times I have gone to writing and I've decided that writing is going to be my thing? And I've written about 50 screenplays that they have a title and they have the first line and then I've left it. So I think that's the way I've approached hobbies is just like feeding the ADHD brain as much as possible.
it sounds like it, but you seem to be in a very happy space when it comes to your hobbies, unlike someone like me that has to, find a reason to do them and to keep doing them. But you sound very similar to my wife, who can pick up something new and she runs with it. She
Mm.
thoroughly enjoys building puzzles. She thoroughly enjoys tinkering in the garden and either growing things from scratch or growing things from cuttings or planting things and nurturing them. Um, and she has lists of things like that she'll do. And I don't know. I just look at you both and go, how do you have the time to even fit that in? Um,
But what do you do?
I
Is there anything that you do that you would consider a non-productive
take
hobby?
care of. What do I do as a hobby? Technically, as a hobby, you see, I wouldn't say that I do anything regularly enough. So maybe that's another thing I need to take away from my definition of a hobby. Maybe it doesn't have to happen frequently enough. So then I can say to you that I thoroughly enjoy listening to music when I get a chance to do so. And invariably, I start to dance. Thankfully, there's nobody else around.
All that modern dancing coming back from when you were a
Exactly.
kid.
Point those toes. Flex. I'm on my back. Don't nearly reach the shapes that it used to. Anyway, um, so I enjoy, what did I say? Music and dancing. I did take up pottery a while ago, and that was very therapeutic. I actually did that through burnout, and it was really therapeutic to
Hmm.
just tactile, and it forced me to focus on what I was doing here, making. Again, not very good at it. So maybe that should be the thing that I need to be bad at it to keep doing it. Which I kind of like as sort of the benchmark. I like that. But there's that innate thing that makes me go, I should go back and practice because I can be better.
Yeah.
Um,
But then you'll get to a point where you're just good enough where you're thinking, actually, I could start selling these pots. And then it all
yes,
collapses. It all
don't worry.
collapses.
I developed businesses around podcasts a long time ago before I started really enjoying
Yeah.
it.
And maybe that's also part of your problem, right? Because you have a very strong entrepreneurial spirit.
On it, yeah, I do. I do.
So
But do you see the stuff behind me here? That's
yeah, yeah.
Lego. That's Lego.
There we go.
I thoroughly enjoy building Lego. I just don't take it out often enough to build. So you can't see higher than that. There's a castle and there's a boat higher up, and that's a pirate and all of his things. So I really do enjoy doing that. That's kind of my puzzle, as opposed to being a 2D flat puzzle. A 3D puzzle is quite fun. I enjoy cooking. I mean, I enjoy all of these things. I just don't know that I would ever have classified them as hobbies. Maybe to Julie's point earlier as well, like what constitutes a hobby?
Yeah. At what point do we go? This is just. I mean, one of my followers mentioned red wine. In fact, I think it was two dads and a kid who's watching right now. They mentioned red wine as a hobby. And two dads and a kid. Please explain yourself because I am I am confusion, right? Because like we were saying earlier, like part of the hobby vibe is that it becomes kind of part of your identity, and it becomes part of who you are and what you do. I don't know and not just wine, not like understanding wine, and maybe that's what you meant. Maybe you meant like really getting a deep and fun, like real knowledge of red wine and becoming a like sommelier or whatever, or making your own wine. But just red wine feels like, can that be a hobby? Is that too is or am I holding it to a higher standard?
I think we should, as you quite rightly say, just put it out there, the fact that there's not that much space on that question sticker when you post it up on Instagram. So maybe there is more to that sentence, and it was just a listicle that they were building.
Yes.
Red wine, campaign,
Yeah.
collecting, whatever. I don't know what the list was, but
The other thing that they said that also I have problems with is that they said reading. They have commented with a smiley face, so at least we haven't offended them. Reading as a hobby. Now, I know that people collect books as a hobby, but if reading is a hobby, can watching TV be a hobby?
let's go
Isn't
back
that
to a pursuit outside one's regular occupation, engaged in, especially for relaxation. So I think by that definition, unless you work as a television producer and you're forced to watch television, probably could be considered a hobby.
it just
I
feels
don't know.
wrong. I feels like our parents would be so hurt and so upset if we said that watching TV is a hobby.
Consider listening to music and uh,
That's a, what's the difference between listening to music, reading, and watching TV? Surely it's all
there are
it's
all relaxation, entertaining in a relaxing way, right? That's entertainment or that's escapism.
yes, yes. Is it a case of people don't like the idea of maybe I know this isn't in the exact dictionary definition of a hobby, but it feels like a hobby is a very active, engaged pursuit.
Yeah. Okay. I'm liking where this is going.
So so reading and listening to music, and especially listening to music where you're like, I'm trying to understand how they wrote that or how they made that.
Yes. Whereas TV
Whereas,
feels like it's coming at you and you don't really have to engage with it.
yeah, unless you are like doing it in a critical way where you're like, I want to understand how films are made or why they've done it in this way, and you're
But
building a
yeah, then I think you would be watch. Then I think you would be watching films as a hobby. You wouldn't watch TV.
hmm.
Again, maybe there wasn't enough space,
Yes,
and they
maybe
meant
it was. That's fair.
TV. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, no, totally. I feel like it's me not fully understanding and maybe having a too narrow view of what a hobby is, and yeah, and I guess my dad would have said that playing TV games could never be a hobby,
Oh,
but
but wrong.
wrong. Like that is full out a hobby, and um, Julie said reading is definitely a hobby as long as it's not reading academic papers because research is work. Good point. Unless that academic research isn't part of your work, right? Like I can sometimes read the abstracts of like astronomy academic papers because I'm
You don't
interested.
know you. Yeah.
You never. I'm really fascinated by astrophysics and astronomy, right? So, but it's not my job. I'm not an astrophysicist. So, researching astrophysics is a hobby. Um, then she also says reading if you participate in a book club or
There.
or watching films as part of a film club. And this is the other aspect I wanted to get to hobbies. Should there be a community aspect to the hobby?
It might make it a little bit more enjoyable. Oscar Boss reckons esports is massive now. Our parents told us dreams. Yeah.
And then Sam calls me a nerd because I liked astrophysics. She should talk. Sam is the biggest nerd. Okay, so please let's
Also wrote
not.
that in capital letters, all four of them,
Yeah,
plus
yeah.
full stop at the end.
Okay.
She, my
Sam
friend.
Sam's answer to this is that she reads in her free time, which is the most nerdy thing you could ever do. So please, astrophysics is cool. Okay, okay. I'm like the guys from Interstellar. That's how cool I am. So
Wow.
Sorry, I just I, I got very upset about that. So okay, so we were talking about community and hobbies.
I think there's some form of being able to enjoy, there's some form of added enjoyment of the hobby if there are other people that do it, that you can share that with. Um, Sometimes I think about being able to crochet or to knit, which you can do anywhere, right? You can take it to the doctor's office, you can sit while you're doing the dentist, blah, 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 blah. But it is a very, I suppose it could be done in groups. But then again, I go, I could sell jerseys.
You can't help yourself. You have a problem. Yeah.
um, But there is something about if you were to go to an art class and drink wine while painting, you're there to drink the wine and socialize. The art that you're doing is purely a hobby. You're just there for the fun.
Yeah.
Similarly, a book club. Similarly, maybe you really enjoy looking after a vintage vehicle, and the only way you can really enjoy your vintage vehicle is when you share that experience with other people that enjoy their vintage vehicles and being looked after and so forth. So
Mhm.
it probably is something to do with having a community around
Yeah.
the hobby that is the enjoyment.
Two dads and a kid said, what did they say? I went with this definitely for a hobby, an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure, i.e., drinking red wine. So drinking red wine was their thing. Osterbus says community is a big part of hobbying and not the be all and end all. Some hobbies don't require the community aspect. That's fair. And in fact, I think if you have a very social life, like you're at work with people all day long and you're engaged with people throughout the week, maybe doing a hobby that's just solo is what you need. Then 2000 kids reading, but definitely not academic journals. And then Sam said to two dads and a kid. Now they're having a conversation without us. Drinking red wine only when shared with certain good friends like me. Now, to be fair, I have had wine with Sam, and she is someone that's very cool to have wine with. So she's right. Um, yeah, what's interesting for me about the community aspect though is that there aren't many opportunities to meet people and make friends as a parent, especially those first like 18 years. I'm guessing, so we when you're a kid and you're at school, and at school there's enough people that whatever your particular interest is, there's going to be five or six other people who are interested in the same stuff, and you can form your group there. um at work it's a bit, do you really want to be friends with people at your work? Not necessarily. um a lot of us work remotely now, so it's really hard if you're not in a community space to meet people and make friends. So I think this is one of those things where like actually really thinking hard about doing a community hobby is important, because that's how you potentially meet like-minded people as a parent.
Yeah. I can't help but ask now, was this where this episode was leading the entire time?
I just want more friends. But I mean, even this podcast, this not just episode, this whole podcast was you and I. I mean, I know you. It started with you wanting to monetize podcasting, not monetize, wanting to do podcasting more productively. But then it also became an opportunity for us to become friends. So like, this is a hobby. I mean, in the loosest sense of the word, it is a hobby that we do because we like the community and we mostly like each other.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
Ansel says, wait, Oster Boss says, by the end of this, they will set up a wine drinking club. Yeah, between Sam and two dads and the kid. And if they don't invite us, that is just awful. Shame on you. Ansel says, community is great until you tell people you make soap. They start telling you about their weird skin conditions, and I've had some very strange questions. Yeah, Ansel, I've got this weird dry skin over my elbow. Could you make a soap?
So interesting. But I suppose, isn't that kind of like our human nature, right? Like somebody tells us something that we know very little about, and we suddenly leap in with the weirdest. references we can possibly
Yes.
draw on just to keep the conversation going.
Yes. Okay. So when Ansel said making soap, what was the first reference that came into your head? We'll say it on three. Okay. You ready? You don't have a
Okay.
reference because I have a reference.
Okay. Well, just go anyway.
Okay. One, two, three. Fight Club.
Oh, right. No,
Ah,
I didn't
okay.
think.
No, just
But I
don't
did think of a rectangular bar of soap, which, Fight Club
has
was a
the
rectangular.
yeah
Yeah, it
yeah.
was stamped into the rectangular. So I also thought of pink, which I think the Fight Club bar was pink,
It
was it
was
not?
pink as well. Yeah. So you were there. You were in
I
the.
was.
You were
I
in and
was.
around.
Oh no.
Then Sam says hobbies for side hustles that become hobbies, or I think also vice versa. This is the problem, right? Is that this is Sam? This is what we're talking about. Sean has a problem, and his problem is his hobbies always become side hustles, and by definition, a hustle is like laborious and exhausting, and you don't want to be doing it necessarily, but you kind of have to. So we need to keep the hobbies as hobbies. So
I think my new hobby, can I suggest a hobby that I'm going to do on my own that only ever might need one additional person is sleep. Because I don't get a chance to do enough of that. And it is something that I really enjoy doing. And it is something that I can engage in for the purposes of relaxation. It's everything else that I do.
but that's the thing. Sleep you have to. I mean, I suppose you don't. There are some levels of sleep you don't have to do. Like having a can napping be a hobby? Being a like just taking naps, I suppose, could be a hobby if it's something you want to do.
Yeah.
Um,
There are competitions for that.
sorry. Yes.
I said, do you know there are competitions?
For,
Okay, good.
for yeah, totally. And I think I could win that because I've recently tried to do a midday nap, and it's amazing. Like a 40-minute nap is awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Us the boss is with you. Taking naps, that's definitely my hobby. My family.
And can I say, my wife on the chat went Fight Club at the same time I said Fight Club. So we were meant to
Oh,
be
come
together. Oh my word, that's brilliant. I'm so impressed. Um,
on, dude.
so I think just in closing, this is kind of where I wanted this conversation to go, was this idea that actually hobbies are important, and the irony is you need to do work to make space to have hobbies. Like it's important to put effort. Hobbies shouldn't
Hmm.
be about effort, but to do the hobbies you have to put effort in, if you know what I'm saying. Like you have to create a space for yourself to do it for all the reasons we were saying. Like whether it's a solo hobby that gets you away from everyone and maybe gets you in touch with nature, like surfing, or and a really cool activity out in nature, or whether it's helping you connect with people more and engage with people more. Like I spend 95% of my time during the week either with my family or alone in my office in my little room here. So hockey is important for me because it's like there's at least like 12 other people that I get to like spend time with at some point in the day. Or supporting a getting into a sport that you watch because there's a big crowd of people that you can watch it with and engage within those conversations. Those are 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 all important. I'm seeing lots of people saying, well, I say lots. Both Julie and Osterbos saying nap club is something that we should be doing more of.
Winning. Club Duvet. I'll see you there.
Sneezing is not a hobby. Sorry, apologies for that.
And Terence turntables.
Oh man,
DJ
yeah. So I again, when I'm thinking about the hobbies, I was looking around my office and I was like, there's a camera, there's turntables, there's a bass guitar, there's the gaming that I do on my PC, there's the gardening, there's the hockey. I play Dungeons and Dragons occasionally with people. Like it's I may be the opposite to you, where you have
Yes.
almost no hobbies. I might have too many, and I'm doing all of them poorly.
No, I think we've established quite a while ago that we're very different, but we're also the same. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous of all the activities that you have outside of work, and somehow you managed to really look after your family as well. So I have so much to learn still from the Afro Daddy, the godfather of all fatherhood content across South Africa.
Oh no, that's, you see, now this is, I see what you're doing. You're taking something that was supposed to be a hobby, telling me that I'm good at it, and now I have to monetize it. Thanks a lot. You ruined it.
No,
You've ruined Aphrodite, and that's it. It's over. Aphrodite, I'm shaving my hair tomorrow. But just in closing, I think the one thing that I do need to say to make it very clear is the reason why I'm able to do all of the nonsense that I do, that really can be quite expensive and bring no money into the family whatsoever, is because I have a very supportive wife that knows how frustrating I can become when my mind is quiet. So she, like, you know how you have to send the kids out and like make sure they're entertained and that they have toys to play with. She knows that I'm like that. So she's very supportive to make sure that I have the space and the time and the resources I need to keep my brain entertained. So a big shout out to the Julie Mentor, the godmother of parenting content, I guess.
There you go. Kudos.
Oh man, if you are a hobby person or someone who does a lot of hobbies, or there's a hobby that you would love to do, that's the one question we didn't get a chance to talk about, but we're running out of time. Just quickly, is there any hobby that comes that you can think about right now that you would love to do if money and time wasn't an issue?
I think I just invented Nap Club, so we're going to put that one aside.
That's nap. That's a very feasible one, by the way. That's a possible. We can work on that.
I'm kidding. There's no money to be made there. I think maybe something just creative. And I've always leaned into creative stuff, hence the making of podcasts and doing audio things. And I do enjoy putting a paintbrush to canvas or scribbling and drawing and stuff like that. So I'd love to spend a little bit of time, maybe some digital art. I said to my wife not too long ago, so many of the things that I enjoy doing involve digital toys, so it becomes expensive, or it means I'm back in front of a screen, and I really need to find something that I can do without those technicalities. I would love to get back in the water and start swimming again. There's definitely something to be said for being outdoors or doing something physical and something active. So nothing really out there that I would say that I have yet to try and would love to do. Probably just more of the same, because I do enjoy it. Is there something that you haven't yet collected in terms of all of your hobbies?
I've done everything. I've done absolutely everything. I think out of all of them, the music side would be something that I would love to actually get, because I never had I never went for teach any kind of music lessons. So to be able to like go for music lessons and have someone teach me how to play the bass guitar really well, that would be, if I had the time and the money, that's probably something I would do. And then the other thing would be, this is going to sound strange because it's really not in my wheelhouse, but I love the idea of being a great woodworker.
Ooh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's very expensive. Like to get to do the stuff isn't that bad, but to get all the tools together that you actually need in the space is very expensive. But imagine you had like a workshop with all like the belt saws and all the things.
I'd like to be that dad. Yeah. No, that'd be very cool.
Us the Boss actually nailed it. Play drums. That's actually that's my secret. That is my secret one. To play the drums.
Yes. We're starting a band.
Baby. We're starting a band, baby. All drummers. That's it. We're just.
That's it. We'll call ourselves all drummers. The drums, no. I will come up with a better name.
We'll come up with a better name. Yeah.
Go for lessons in terms of playing a musical instrument. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'd really love to play the drums. I know it would make a lot of noise around here, so there's no point in me having a set of drums. But that would be so cool. Yeah,
I don't know why. I just have this idea of like sitting and just kind of doing like some jazz things and some fills and some riffs or whatever. It's probably one of those things that in my mind is a lot cooler and a lot more fun than it is in reality. Like in reality, it's probably just doing the same thing over and over and over again for hours until you get it right. Yes,
got it. We can play the drums.
That's fine. Easy peasy. Okay, so that's our next hobby. We got Nap Club and we got Drum Club. We got that sorted. Us the Boss, you have nailed the hobbies for today. But he's also said, just in closing, hobbies I'd like to do: ride motorbikes cross country. and go back to painting and drawing. So those are very, very cool. I am all out of hobbies to talk about, all out of the things that are hobby related. If you have a hobby, if you're listening or you're watching this after we've done the live stream, please let us know in the comments what hobbies you either currently do, what hobbies you would like to do, and what is stopping you from doing the hobbies you would like to do. Those three things. You can answer all three, or you can answer one of those three, and that will be super, super helpful. And of course, please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, because that's
Wow.
where you get to go to live stream. That's where you can watch us live.
We're on all of those things.
We are on
Now,
all of the places. We are on everywhere. How can people find us? What must they search for?
have you asked your dad what they need to search for? Is have
Ah!
you asked to find the guys online? You simply search, have you asked your dad? I would ask him, but he would simply say, have you asked your dad?